Have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
Welcome to Footwork.
All right, here we are. RicFit, the man, the myth, the legend. Now I'm going to start it off. Rick, do you know the first time we officially met? It was on a football pitch.
I think so, bro. I think we played Long Island Rough Riders together when we were like 12. Man.
Yes, yeah,
12,
definitely,
13.
Definitely that. We also played each other in the league, but this was the time I'm thinking of because we definitely played Rough Riders together, 100%.
Yeah.
Because we were the same age group, and that was like it was all the same kids that were always playing together.
I remember you and Nick Forgione were just legends from Massapequa.
Yeah, and Dean Caffarello is also
legends
from Massapequa.
Yes. Bro, Dean was a baller, man.
Dean was a baller. Yeah.
So is there any story to this or no?
No. What I'm saying,
okay,
but
good.
I'm gonna get to. I don't. Maybe you don't remember it. I was playing pickup.
I don't think I remember, man.
I was playing pickup with Winnie Arski and Vincent Pellegrino at Manhasset High School. We would always play with Chris Megaludis and that little group.
Yes.
And you were training by yourself on the other side of the turf.
Wow.
And then Winnie and Pell were like, "Yo, isn't that kid like? I see him on Instagram. Like, I think he plays in Germany or something." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure who it is." They're like, "Yeah, I think his name's like Eric or something. I think he plays in Germany though." So when you invited over, and then you played with us. And then I was like, "Oh
yes,
shit!"
Now I remember. Yeah.
And then
there was a girl playing as well, right?
Yes. She was Julia. She's going to Duke now, I believe. Yeah, that was with Eric Schmidt. I don't know if you know him. He was there.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. And then that started because at the time I think we were maybe in our second or third year of college, and you were already outside the States playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You were kind of the first.
It really fits it really fits the brand too. That the first time you met him, he was like putting in some work, doing some individual training and stuff
by himself.
Yeah, exactly. But now the value of pickup is huge, man. It's just so underrated,
The value of quality pickup too, like that session.
Facts. Even like we'll probably get into it, but like those times you go to like the pitches in Germany and like they're the cage, they have the cages and they have the cage goals. And bro, you like look at these guys and they're like out of shape, and you go in there and like, man, some of these guys can ball,
Oh, 100%.
I mean,
I tell people here that the way that they do pickup football, soccer is like how we do pickup basketball in the US.
Yes.
Everyone can play a little bit. And so you can always just find a game of fives to run, but that's the same thing here. That's what I love about it. Yeah,
exactly.
Do you find anything out there in Israel? Like how is the soccer culture there for something like pickup?
Well, now I'm in Latvia, but in Israel, man, in Israel, we'll get into it, of course, but man, like Israel, these players in Israel, it's like the same with all like I think Middle Eastern players. Like even in Germany, you see these Turkish guys, man, like they're so good technically.
Their head's not there.
Exactly. Like, dude, like played in Sweden, Germany, seen players in Latvia all over, man. Like Israelis and like a lot of Middle Eastern players, man, like Arabic players, so good on the ball, but just like discipline wise, tactics wise, and game intelligence, like you said, it's not there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. That definitely want to get into some of those things, but I guess let's start a little earlier though in your life and in your career. I know in some blogs and on your website you kind of discussed that your upbringing, you weren't so, I guess, disciplined maybe is the word. You were maybe had a little bit of a troublemaker vibe inside of you. And if you could just start around there and how you really got into soccer and how it kind of transformed you, that would be great.
For sure. Yeah, so I think I started playing when I was like 4 or 5, typical playing in the rec leagues. My parents never played soccer. Wasn't really where I grew up. The Merrick Belmore area is not really a soccer culture. It's more baseball and basketball. And I played baseball, I played basketball, got into lacrosse in my days. Typical American kid.
Play every sport.
Exactly. And I think I remember I was playing, I forgot what team I was playing, maybe like an Oceanside team or something when I was like 12 or 13. And this English coach was our trainer, and he told me, he said, like, Eric, you really got some good potential in the game. And he asked me if I played on any other sports. And I told him, yeah, I play basketball, I play baseball. And he's like, yeah, if you really want to get to the next level in the game, you need to pick and focus on one thing. And I remember I came home from that training and I was like, I think I spoke with my parents, and, I was playing basketball. Sean, I don't know if you're familiar with Island Garden, but I was playing like, that type of stuff. It was a decent level basketball.
Good level.
I was,
yeah.
Yeah. And I enjoyed it, but man, when you get older, man, you're not the height. Like, it's just not possible.
Yeah.
And I think at like 15, 16, I was like, I stopped. I think when I went into high school, I stopped playing basketball. And I was also playing like outside besides club ball. I was playing Long Island Rough Riders. I was playing with Sean, a couple other guys from Long Island. I forgot who else was on that team.
Everyone,
couple ballers.
all the ballers from our age group.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a fun time.
Dude, great times, man. Like Poconos Cup and all that stuff. Great vibes. You look back at those days, man, and you're like, yo, like you could play 3 or 4 games in one day. You eat the oranges after the game. You
get a Gatorade in you. You're good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Manhunt in the hotel. Oh God.
Oh yeah, dude, those were great, man. Those were great. So yeah, I was playing, outside, doing the Long Island Rough Riders, playing, club ball. This was and then I went into middle school, and I've talked about this before on my my social media, and like as I quote get bigger, I don't even like to look at myself. People like to call me an influencer. I don't like that. Like I always like when people say, "Oh yeah, you're an influencer," like I try to say, "No, I'm a footballer with a big audience." I don't want to be classified as an influencer. I want to. My whole goal is to try to help younger guys and girls not make the mistakes that I did at a young age, and help them with things that I've done well, and other things that I'm trying to learn for myself, my own clients that we could get into later, and help them with practical and scientific knowledge to help them. So yeah, you guys will notice I go on tangents, man. So
that's perfect for a podcast, man. That's the whole role.
If I just talk too much shit, just let me know. But yeah, man. So when I was like 14, 15, 16, like went into middle school, like I just remember, man, like my neighbors and like other kids, like I said, a lot of my good friends were playing baseball. And like as a joke, they would call me a foot fairy, but as we all know, like when people make jokes, but they still have that little, it's in their mind that you are a foot fairy, like even if it is a joke, So I was like, yeah, like these kids are calling me a foot fairy, they're my boys, but they're making a joke. And, you look back and it's like, man, you look at American football, oh, that's a man's game, So whatever, I went into middle school. And dude, I tried out for the middle school American football team.
Oh wow!
And yeah, man, as like I think like a running back, dude, I was like out of my mind, man. So like I ended up playing American football in 7th grade in middle school.
So you made the team. Word.
I made the team.
Amazing.
And at this time, like I was hanging around with the quote wrong crowd, kids like you said, I was a bit of a troublemaker, class clown. And I had stopped going to trainings for the Rough Riders. Remember that Jose was our coach?
Yeah, Jose.
I forgot his last name.
Jose Ribe. Jose Ribe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, good guy. Good
Very
guy,
good,
South American guy, knew his stuff. And I just stopped going to training. Like, my dad would be coming to pick me up, or my stepdad or my mom wanted to take me over to training. And I was just like, no, I'm hanging out with my friends. Like, and I just like 13, 14, 15, I just like stopped going to training. And I ended up getting like a call or a letter in the mail, something that like Eric, like you're just not committed enough to this, so we're gonna have to drop you from the team. And up to that point, like I was like one of usually the better players, and when I felt that, I was like, damn, like this is real, and yeah, like I guess it didn't hit me, so I just let it be. I don't even think I was like even playing. I think I was playing like a little bit of club, and then was still enjoying the game. Um, and yeah, like you said, like I was a bit of a troublemaker in school, which my mom always tells me not to tell people this on interviews, but I'm an open and transparent guy. So, man, I got kicked off my middle school soccer team. I don't know, I was just causing trouble. So I got kicked off the team, and yeah, I just had to like do a double, like a look in the mirror. I didn't really have like, I'm an only child, didn't have brothers, sisters, no one really quote like to mentor me in the right place, in the right direction. Like I thought it was cool to be a bad kid and a class clown and entertain people. Because I mean, I really do. Till this day, I enjoy like entertaining people, having a good time, giving people laughs. But now I know like there are more appropriate ways to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and like, let's see. So then 8th grade, middle school, I think I kind of got back on the rails a little bit. Went into high school, played high school soccer. I was also playing at the time for Lake Grove United, which is like a pretty good team in the, in the Premier League realm. I don't think academies were around then.
No.
So I think I was like 16, 17, had a really good trainer at the time, really good in terms of technique, more of that European mindset of all about just always playing with the ball, doing things with the ball, playing a lot of small-sided, like small spaces, lots of pressure. And being around those guys, a couple of them are playing pro right now. We're some of the top players in New York. Being around those guys really got me back into kind of falling in love with the game again, and seeing, just why I started playing in the first place, just the joy it brought me.
Right.
And then, yeah, so yeah, I was playing there, and I remember one thing that the coach said, the trainer, he said, we're going to be playing in a lot of big tournaments on the weekends, so don't try during your high school trainings and high school games. And I just took that into heart, and I was like, all right, like now academies don't let their players play high school. So he was trying to get into that vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just had that in my mind, and I think I did well on JV. I had the chance to go up to varsity for a couple of trainings, but they didn't, pick me up. I ended up I was playing as a attacking midfielder, did well, scored a lot of goals. 10th grade, I ended up playing varsity. And that's when I, quote, had my season where I didn't try. And looking back now, it was the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. Like I would go to trainings and like, I would just like half-ass it. I was like literally giving 50, 60%. And just so I could because I was doing the high school trainings and then the club trainings, just so I could come to club trainings fresh. But now looking back at it, it was like, why did I do that, man? Like, why? And obviously the guy had good intentions, but it wasn't the right way to approach it. Now,
especially at that age,
yeah, exactly. And now kind of my mindset, which we'll get into later, like all this stupid stuff that I've done has literally, it's like been 0 to 100. Now my mindset is every day is game day. No matter where I'm at, I'm trying to be the best player there and get value out of this training, because time is everything. So
yeah,
first of all, I want to enjoy it, and I want to make the most of my time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because I mean, you truly never know when it's gonna end. These times. 100%,
so 100%, man. I was talking with a friend on the phone the other day, and I had just recently, I've been out 8-9 months. I had a sports hernia surgery. He's out now with an injury. And it just, like you said, you realize after those times, you realize, first of all, how grateful you are to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then second of all, like, just, you got to make the most of everything, because you never know when it's going to be your last go.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so often, I mean, especially in our sport, you're so focused on the result and so focused on your performance and everything that you forget, like, you're kicking a ball and just enjoy it. I mean,
Exactly.
at the end of the day, the stress levels are really not that. I mean, we go through a lot, but it's at the end of the day, we play a game.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. And in things like, what happened with Christian Eriksen puts things into perspective, man. Like,
100%. Yeah.
dude, life is the most important. And I remember I posted something on Instagram about it. I forgot what it was. I got something like a weird reaction. I was like, football is life and football is everything, and it's what we love. But this shows you that football isn't everything. Life is
Mm-hmm.
the most important. Having life, having breath, being able to see and be grateful for the little things is what matters. And I got like some younger guys, oh, football's on life, it's everything. You know how it is. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm trying to make a point here, guys,
Yeah.
Yeah. The grind culture is especially big right now. And I think especially in the
100%.
youth, I mean, we love, guys like David Goggins and stuff, but
Yeah,
I always say you got to take these guys just with a little
yeah,
grain of salt, because
for sure.
it's not a sustainable way to think about
Yeah.
life forever.
Oh, for sure. No, I love you. You guys love Jocko as well. And dude, he's a legend. Like, all those guys are legends, but absolutely, like you said, like, first of all, Goggins, that guy, he's he doesn't play a professional sport. He doesn't play a sport where the mind is the most important. The mind being fresh, the nervous system being fresh. So yeah, you can push through those times. In football, the most important thing is decision making. So we gotta listen to our body.
Right.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
And there's a difference between the two. Now,
Yeah.
Eric, I wanted to jump in to, you went to University of Buffalo,
Yes.
correct? So you went to University of Buffalo for 1 year, and then you made the jump to leave to go to Europe, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How did you come about that decision? Because that's obviously a tough decision. I know after my first year of college, like, there was maybe talks about I was going to transfer somewhere else, but like, it's difficult to jump to a new place at that age. I was 18,
For sure.
and like, it's always easier to stay where you are. How did you
For
decide,
sure.
like, I'm going to leave the country after playing 1 year of college?
Yeah. So let's bring it back a little. Like, I had gone to like some summer camps when I was like, I think 15, 16. My parents wanted to kind of get me used to living away from home. I was doing like some summer camps in Massachusetts. And I remember the first camp I went to, this was like, I think the first time being away from home. I called my parents crying, like, you got to come pick me up, feeling homesick, like, after a week, and whatever, they made me stay out there. I pushed through it. And yeah, so going back to the Germany experience, basically, I think I was just like researching, because I think when I was going into college, I just wanted to have like a little bit of a training stint in Europe, to get ready for college, get ready for preseason. And I was doing some research, and I found this agency. It's called IFX. I don't even know if it still exists, but it's like an agency where you pay like a decent amount of money, but they hook you up with a visa. We know is huge. They hook you up with a language school, and they hook you up with apartment. So it's basically a year where they help you, assimilate into the culture, and help you learn the German culture and the German football vibes, especially when coming from America and American type systems, just how different it is. And I ended up doing I think it was a 2-month summer program the year before I went into college. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. Like, they hooked me up with a Landesliga team in Nuremberg, Bavaria, so 6th league. And you know how it is when you first get over there, you're like, yo, like put me in the Bundesliga, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they hooked me up with a 6 league side. I was living with a couple guys in an apartment. And we were just, doing the trial training type thing. We would train in the morning with I would say there was like 20 guys there from all around the world. A lot of American guys, a couple African guys, a couple Asian guys. We would train in the morning and then go to these clubs in the afternoon. And, when they send you to a 6 league club, you're like, damn, I don't want to go to 6 league. You get over there and you're like, wow, these guys can ball. They're not in the best shape.
Exactly.
But as we know, but they know the game. They know the game. They're better on the ball than most American players, especially during that time. And I think I was 19. So, the physicality with some guys was good. And, so I did that 2 months, really enjoyed it. There were 2 teams I remember who wanted me to sign in the 6 league. And, I was already committed to university, and, they were offering like a couple €100. And I just, at that time, you don't realize the value. And I actually looked, like, I don't really like to say that I regret anything, but it would have been interesting if I took that opportunity right away.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going back. I played in college. I was playing as a defensive mid at the time. And yeah, I mean, best social experience of my life. Like, made so many friends, like tons of girls, and it was enjoyable. Like, it was great. Like, being at the University of Buffalo, like, I had a bunch of my high school boys who were in the frats at the time. And I also had my soccer boys. So, you can go to both parties,
Right.
you can mix.
Oh,
with
it
this
sounds like a
and
great
that.
setup. Yeah.
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. But like, before that, I kind of had done the transition. So when I was like 16, 17, when I went to Lake Grove, I didn't say this. I was one of the worst players. And I would say I was starting maybe 50% of the games. I wasn't a regular starter. And that was like the first time, like I told you, I kind of took like a sabbatical for 2-3 years, didn't really care, thought I was some hot shot. And that was kind of a wake up call that, dude, you got to get your stuff together. And that's when I started like investing into the additional work and really reading up on every single thing that you can do to optimize your performance, things you can control. That's what I kind of got obsessed with, the training realm, the nutrition realm. So when I went to college, like, I kind of lost that. Like, I had been, quote, pretty disciplined for 2 years, had like kind of changed my body, changed the way how I felt. I was improving myself as a player and a person. And when I went to college, I fell back into kind of the loop of the party scene. And the thing with me is, I always tell people, as we all know, like, environment's huge. Like, so for me, environment is big, but like, when I am in an environment where it's like a party scene, it'll suck me in,
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, like, now I've really learned, wherever I live, I like to live in like kind of the middle of nowhere, like not a big city, do my work during the week, have a good match, and then spend 1-2 days in the big city, enjoy myself with some friends, come back. And that's how I like to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I like I said, made a lot of friends, did okay in college. Same thing, was starting like 50 to 60% of the games, wasn't a regular starter. And then I had wanted to do the Germany experience again, because I really enjoyed it. Like, it was just a great experience. Just seeing how big football is over there. Like, it's just literally, you guys, I've watched a ton of your episodes. I love your podcast, by the way. And, I love how you talk about, like, there's so many things that I could relate. That's why I like it. And you always talk about how, like, you're in Germany and everyone's talking about football. You turn on, there's 4 or 5 channels with football, and it's just always in your mind. And it's just such a difference than being in the US, especially
so
at that time. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
what, 2017, 2018. Football wasn't big.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. So I made the jump back out, and same experience. Then they had put me with they had known me and they thought I was a decent player, so they put me with some fifth league teams. And yeah, like same thing. I was planning on going back my sophomore year of college. I had a girlfriend at the time who I was with for like a year or something. And I remember the exact moment that I made the decision to stay in Germany. My plan was to go back to the US. I had trialed and trained with a couple teams and enjoyed the environments. And I remember I was with one of my friends. We were walking on like the main strip in Nuremberg. I was 20 years old, and I said to my friend, like, unfortunately, I can't do this. I'm too old. I'm gonna have to. I want to marry a girl in Europe and raise my kids in Europe, so my son can do it for me. So I went back home that night. And man, I was on a routine of like, those perfect push-up handles. I had them in.
Yeah.
I was like ripping those like at night at like 10 p.m. like every night as a routine of like 200 push-ups. And I remembered like, after you get a good session in, like the hormones are flowing, the dopamine's going, adrenaline's going.
That's how this podcast is created.
Yeah.
I know you guys love the whoop.
Post-workout vibes.
Yeah, dude, nothing like it. And I was just like, yo, can we curse on this podcast?
Yeah, of course.
And I was just like, fuck it, I'm doing this myself, And I remember I sent an email to my coach. I was like, I forgot what the email was. I got to dig this up sometime. Yeah, I'm in Germany right now. I had spoken to him. He was from New Zealand and like had some European roots like in England, so he knew the vibe. I had spoken with him before that I was in Germany. He liked it, so I discussed that I was going back again. I told him, I'm in Germany. I've gotten an opportunity, and I'm 20 years old, and the way I look at it now, and you guys always talk about it, it's like, man, you can always go back to school. You could always be a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, whatever you want to be at any age, but you can't be as fit as we are and as young as we are. And just how much we learn out here, man. Like it's unbelievable compared to the classroom. And I was like, I got to take this opportunity. And that was it. I did it. Kind of let my girlfriend know, that lasted like 3 weeks, and then that was finished. And then I was on my journey. I was on the journey, and that's where everything kind of started.
Amazing.
That's unreal.
That is unreal too. I don't even know where to start. First off, I couldn't help but think is like, how you were talking about like your friends used to call you foot fairies and stuff. Like same thing with me. But like, I don't even think a German person could understand that if you tried to explain them. Because here, football is the man sport.
Oh, yeah.
Like women don't play football here. Women play tennis. But it's like in America,
it's interesting.
Going in high school and middle school, it's like, oh, yeah, I don't know, Dylan, did you have that in your school? That was a big Long Island
well,
thing.
Luckily, most of my friends played soccer, but yeah, I did get like from surrounding groups. Yeah, foot fairy. That's a big American thing is you play soccer, you're a foot fairy.
Crazy. But if you even call it soccer in Europe, they shun you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
But then the second part of your story, I thought it was hilarious. Is like, say you're walking down the strip of Nuremberg, 20 years old, and you're like, man, I'm too old. I'll have my kid do this for me.
Exactly. And now I know that I'm going to have kids till I'm like 32. So
I mean, what a turn of events in that. That was all in one night, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, shout out perfect push-up.
Yeah, shout out perfect push-ups.
Yeah, man.
Honestly.
Oh man, that's quite a turnaround. So, I mean, but did you have any notion that you kind of wanted to pursue soccer? I mean, even back in high school, I know you were falling in and out of love with the game, but did it take for you to, be out in a place like Germany that kind of loved the game as much as you to be like, okay, I have to do this and I can do this?
Yeah. So I think when I was, quote, one of the better players until I kind of took that sabbatical, came back, played for Lake Grove. I was one of the worst players. And thinking back, like I said, not playing high school to my fullest ability was the dumbest thing I've ever. And people will ask why. And the main reason is I was the main guy in high school,
Mm.
And when I was, 10th grade, I wasn't. I was a starter, but wasn't the main guy. But 11th, 12th grade, I was the main guy. And I think something that's super underrated is you got to, like I said before, you got to take advantage of every opportunity. But especially like when you're a big fish in a small pond, it's huge because like, you become a leader. You're an influence to the other guys, to the younger guys, to the other, generations. And I wish I had taken more advantage of that,
Mm.
but
Mm-hmm.
can't second think things, but yeah, like I said before, you just got to take advantage of every opportunity. But yeah, like we all know, like when you're playing good football, like that's when you feel your best. You really just feel, I don't know, it's just an indescribable experience. Like you just feel so good on the pitch. You're just in such a flow, like the mental state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and, you know, I mean, that's why, sometimes I get these messages like about like nerves, and we all have nerves and everything, but I don't know. I'm trying to really get to the, I'm not a sports psychologist or anything, but I always like to look into different areas. But I always get these questions of like, how do you quote cure the nerves, or how do you get over the nerves? And I try to give like people practical tips and everything, like to start slowly, just get your passes going. But I think once you just like when you find that flow, there's nothing like it. There's nothing
Yeah.
like that flow getting into a game.
Yeah.
And just those emotions are everything. So I know, playing good football and coming off the pitch after just working your ass off for 90 minutes, there's no greater feeling, getting 3 points, playing a good game. And when I went over to Europe and I just saw these big stadiums, and I saw like, man, even in Regionalliga, fourth league and third league, just the fans and just the emotions you get for the passion that these people have is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
after that experience, yeah, I did come back to the US and I kind of saw this college system. And, you go into the weight room with these football coaches, these American football coaches. Oh, test your max. What's your max? You write it down. Give me a break. Test my max. I hate that stuff, man. The numbers, man. I was literally on the phone with someone the other day, and it's a new client of mine. She's a girl, and I asked her what her main goal was, and she told me. And in the beginning of the conversation, she told me that I asked her what her main strength was, and she said her game intelligence, her tactical ability, her long range passing, her passing ability, and she's a number 8 or a number 6, so plays in the midfield. And as we both know, that's huge in Europe. You got to have game intelligence. You got to make right decisions. And then I asked her, what's your main goal with the program that we're about to start? And she said to me, I want to increase my numbers on squat, deadlift, and bench. And I just said to myself, I laughed like a little, and I said, I'm sorry to laugh, but I just got to tell you the truth. Like, you got to embrace the game intelligence and the long range passing and that stuff more than the numbers of the bench, squat, and deadlift and that. That it's great. It's great. But
It's such
I
an
told her,
American thing, though. You're right. It's so American, the numbers.
Exactly. I told her, you like in Europe, you would be praised, but it's just so sad where the culture, it's evolving, of course, but where the culture is in football and soccer in America. And I said to her, I said, to tell you the truth, the first phase or two when we first start, everything's about movement. I don't care about how heavy your lifts are. I care more about how well you move through every exercise that I prescribe, because the most important thing for us is I want you to be in total control of your body in space.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to have full range of motion in different positions.
Mm.
And we're not just doing bilateral things all the time. We're on one leg and we're moving through different ranges of motion. And, I've had so many conversations over the past few years. And one thing that I really love is I've spoken to a lot of top physical therapists, and they always talk about, like, now we see the knee over toes guy. Before, we learned that you never want to put your knee over your toe.
Right.
But now we learn that being able to be in those weird positions and actually control that range is the biggest thing.
Right.
And that's why with my, clients who are kind of, some are beginners, but whoever it is, even pros, I start with like simple, basic movement patterns, because I told her, the most important thing is I want you to be on the pitch. I don't want you to get injured. You can optimize performance all you want, but if you're on the bench and you're not getting game time, that does me no good. That does us no good.
Right.
Well, I've really gone on a tangent here.
No, this is incredible, because I mean, we can cycle back to countries and places you play. Let's stay on this, because this is something Dylan and I have always, I mean, for years now, probably since I've been 15 or 16, I saw my older brother figuring out the best ways, trying new things, and what is the best way for a footballer specific to what we're doing. What is the best way to train? Now, you've come a long way from when you started till now. What are some things you were doing wrong at first to now what you're doing now in terms of weightlifting and stuff in the gym, and things outside of football, outside of training?
Love that question. First thing, when I first got started in the training, I was 15. I was reading the bodybuilding magazines, the Men's Fitness,
classic.
all that BS. And man, my idols were like these jacked guys, and I was a footballer, And the first thing I remember, I came out to Germany, and I was training. The coach's name was Manny. He was, I think he was like Bosnian Serbian origin. Really good guy. Played in the, I think, second Bundesliga for FC Nuremberg. Was a striker, or forgot, maybe a left back actually. And he said to me, he's like, Eric, like, you have, I think this was the first time when I went over to Germany. He was training the IFX guys, the agency group. And he said, Eric, you could see you're very good on the ball. You have good potential, but dude, you look like a damn bodybuilder. You look like a tank, man. I was like 175, 180 pounds. Like, I was pretty deezed, And I was like, why, you don't think this is going to help me on the field? And he's like, no, you're like a tank,
It's like you can't even turn your neck.
Exactly. So from there, so the biggest mistake was I was trying to look good for the girls instead of perform well on the pitch. Because you know how it is when you first get in, you start seeing those results in the mirror, then you start seeing, 2, 3, 4 abs. You're like, damn,
of course.
Start cutting that body fat. And I took that in, what he said, and I was like, all right, I'm going all in. And the thing with me is, like, I'm either all in or all out. So when that guy, I always believe, like, you got to take advice from people who have, done what you want to do and who have experience in that area. And man, this guy played second Bundesliga. He's 55. He's still, like, shredded up, fit. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back. And I didn't tell you guys, but when I first came into college, I was majoring in pre-dentistry because my mom wanted me to be a dentist. And I like keeping my teeth nice. I like nice teeth on chicks, but I was like, nah, I cannot be a dentist. That's just not me. So I'd always been up, like I said, I had gotten into training at 15. So I switched into sports science. And, basically through the years, I finished online. And, I got into the degree. I finished online. I had actually paused college when I went over to Germany. I had gotten into the degree, started my sophomore year online because of what this guy said. And from there, I just, like, a whole rabbit hole of things, like, dove in from the college standpoint, from the theoretical standpoint in the books, but the most valuable thing has been the practical standpoint, learning from people out here, learning from mentors online, from mentors that I've met in the US. And yeah, I mean, so like I said, the first mistake was the aesthetics part, and then the second mistake, why I had my surgery, is like you said, Dylan, the culture of TNDO and the grind culture. I came over to Germany at 19, and I said, you know, these young kids, they've spent their time in the academies. I'm gonna get my time back. I was literally training, no lie, 7-8 hours a day at high intensity, 6 days a week at 19 years old. I had a buddy that was doing it with me. He was genetically just more gifted than I was, physically, like same level technique wise, but just like could recover so much quicker than I could. And so the second mistake is I would push through bad, like pain that isn't muscular, pain, that it's more joint pain, and wasn't listening to the body. So that second biggest thing is not listening to the body and trying to be a Goggins. That's why I brought it up. Trying to be a Goggins or a Jocko, and push through that pain. And I think that's my second mistake. Third mistake was not playing enough pickup as a young kid. Wish I did that, but you know, as we know, in the States, it's not as accessible.
Yeah, we're products of our environment at the end of the day too.
Exactly. I mean, that's really all I could think of right now.
Yeah, I mean, the rest one, like, just to even bring this point back even more, is that I think it's starting to come back to it now. You know, there's a lot of things that calculated, a lot of things like the Whoop strap that we have. There's other devices
So you got
that
an
really
Oura ring, Rick?
encourage.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about that too. I mean, it's kind of similar in the fact where it's heavily promoting good sleep and what it can do for your recovery. Am I wrong? Okay, so yeah. So I mean, these are the good things that are coming up about sleep, but I mean, still with like the Navy SEAL culture, which again, I love, and I take many aspects of it because there's so much of your body that you don't think you can accomplish, but you can. You know, you can unlock those extra levels. But people have to understand that you can't be your best unless you're sleeping, unless you're recovering. So like, I mean, those miles that you put on your body and on your legs at such a young age is so crazy damaging.
Yes. Especially, and that's what I think we don't realize. Like I said before, time is everything. And that's why like these European, you know, kids, like when they start playing at a high level, like 15, 16 in a structured environment with people who know the game from a physical standpoint, tactical and technical standpoint, it's such a disadvantage to us because we come out over here and we quote lost time. But then we think, so like I said, I came over with this American mindset of grind that I learned from, you know, on Instagram or wherever I learned it. And, you know, it you know, I'm grateful for that mindset, but it kind of did me harm. So, you know, technically during that time and physically, I got so much better. But, you know, after those, you know, until I had my surgery, like I was just like I had learned to kind of dial it back. But one of the things I always love to tell like Europeans is I'm super grateful for the mindset I come over here with as an American, but I'm also grateful for the more relaxed and chill vibe they have here because it gives us a nice balance, you know?
Yeah, it's all about that balance. I mean, did you say you just got your surgery recently though, right?
Yeah, January 2021.
And how is your recovery from that going? Are you back to full fit?
Yeah, unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. I'm so grateful for the surgeon and the physical therapists that I work with, the strength coaches I work with. So after, we'll get into it later maybe, but like after Germany, I had went over to Sweden. And that's when I kind of started experiencing the pain. Like at 23, I'm 26 now. And, you know, I was still, you know, I don't know if I was pushing through the pain. I didn't think it was something major,
Yeah.
What was it like?
Um,
Something up high in your groin? It's just like tight.
It was like in the, like the external obliques, they come down
Yeah.
into the pubis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had like some inflammation, like on my right side, especially a little on my left side, but it was like it looked like a bulge coming out of my, like not a big bulge. Everyone
Mhm.
used to tell me like it was muscle. They told me it was muscle, but I kept saying like there's something going on here because, over those years where I was studying, like I was like, still am obsessed. Like instead of listening to music, I'm listening to podcasts and audiobooks from top guys
Right.
who are into the field. And I just really am grateful to have developed a good relationship with my body. And I'm sure you two guys are the same. And when something's wrong. I was
Yeah.
like, something's wrong here,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
You played with that for 4 years. That pain.
yeah, 3-4 years. So it wasn't in the beginning. It wasn't pain. It was like a dull, weird sensation.
Mhm.
And it would come and go. I was doing my recovery, my stretching. I was doing everything I could to help the body heal. And it really gave me trouble when I was after lockdown, when I was I think that was like a year and a half ago. We were doing the training at home, and one of the biggest problems that I see is some of these, and not to bash anyone, but like the physical trainers, the conditioning coaches at the clubs, they got a lot of these things on YouTube, and they just put you through it, and I had just come off like doing lockdown training, and we go back into full team training. I think it was in October of 2020. Season started late. We were just getting into friendlies, and I'm a big proponent of like getting a good warm up in, proper activation, things like that. And I had always like asked like the conditioning coach, like I would appreciate if I could get like an extra 5-10 minutes, and I got yelled at from the head coach that I need to do what the team does. So I was like, all right, no, whatever, no problem. Boom, we get into it. Man, we do like a 1-2 minute warm up. We get into sprints like right away. And I'm like, nah, this is not good, man. This is not good. And like all my teammates, they like know about my brand. They know that I know a little bit about this stuff and I study this stuff. And like they always came up to me and they were like, you got to tell them. And this is one of the things, like as a footballer, like I don't want to bring, quote, my other knowledge in and try to correct anyone else. I want to be as humble as possible wherever I go. And if any strength coach even like asks me, and maybe it's a fault of my own, but I don't want to, you know how it is like in the football culture, you don't want to damage relationships. So they ask me like, how is it? Is it good? Is it good? I'm like, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Like, it's like far from good, And yeah, so like we did these trainings, and then like the first preseason game we had, I was like, it's back, like something's going on, and it's on both sides now. And just at the end, like after my third friendly, I came off the pitch after 45, and I was like, I need a rest, and then I called my parents. I was like, I need to come home. I need to sort this out. And yeah, I ended up seeing, I think 7-8 different surgeons. I first had tried it with I went back home and I like tried it with a physical therapist and strength and conditioning coach who were like super knowledgeable, fantastic guys. And it wasn't getting any better. I was doing these, oh my God, these shots, like the needle, like into like trigger point shots into directly into the pubis, into the groin. I was trying every area not to get surgery because I'm a very like big into holistic. I wanted to try everything I could to get away from changing my biomechanics, the way I move naturally. But I just said, like, had a serious conversation, with, my parents, myself. And I was like, I got to do it. And, it's been the best decision so far. I haven't had any pain yet. I'm gonna knock on some wood.
Amazing.
And
Cool too for
I've
you.
come back. Appreciate it. I've come back better than I was, and I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. So
Incredible.
Amazing. I want to come back to just talk about the transitions between Germany to Sweden, and then was it Sweden to Israel, and then Israel to Latvia?
Yeah.
So we could go into those. I mean, we
sure.
get asked questions all the time about how to get into places and
Yeah.
being your own agent. So I would love to hear about,
Yes.
the specifics of how you got into these places.
Yeah. No, before I get into that, I love like some of the topics you have on, like the be your own agent, you are your own advertisement, all that stuff. Like I preach that all the time. It's huge, man.
It's huge. It's so important.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And like I said before, it's like we learn. This is how I try to compare, like tell people, you are your own asset. So if you were a business, you got to make your asset as good and shiny as possible. So like I always try to influence on the younger generation, and even my age and older, is you got to do everything in your control to make yourself as good as possible when you get onto the pitch, as resilient as possible, and being able to do that and market yourself, I think is so big in like just learning how to communicate with people, how to present different things, and I think just being able to build relationships with people, and you guys have said it before, I love it, like build relationships with people, not just to get something out of it. No, build real relationships with people. So you build friends. Don't be like one of those fake guys. Just like Gary Vee always says it. Like, man, I forgot the exact term, but he always says like, don't give to
receive.
Yeah, exactly, something like that.
Yeah.
So, wow, what'd you even ask me, man? I'm sorry.
No, we love the tangents, by the way. Like, this is the perfect place to like just expand the thoughts. But we were talking about the transitions between Germany leaving to Sweden, then Sweden to
So Germany, I played there like 2.5 years, and then I was trying to make a jump to Sweden because I had heard a lot of good things about how Swedish, Finnish, Danish, Norwegian, those Scandinavian countries treated Americans, and I had heard the visa was a bit easier over there. So these combines. So I discovered PSC. I think I went over there. I did a combine in Florida when I was 22. And did pretty well. Like they knew I was playing in Germany, and like there were a couple people interested in me over there, but one guy was like really wanted to take me under his wing. It was like this agent in Sweden, and bringing it back to that summer camp at 16 when I cried. Now I was moving all over the place. I didn't care. So you give me an opportunity, I'm there. I'm buying a ticket, I'm there, And he was like, I thought you were a solid player. I want to try to get you into the third tier in Sweden, Division 1. And he brought me in. I think he like let me stay at his house, like real chill guy, and he
was he asking for money at this point?
I did pay him $1,000 straight up.
Okay, yeah.
Paid him $1,000, and now like I don't know, I'm in between of like paying agents. I was at the point where I was a nobody. Like I had played in Germany a bit, I'm like in between. So like I saw it as a good opportunity. He wasn't like, I didn't feel he was just trying to get the money. Like for me, now that I know as quote a businessman, like time is money. Like I'm gonna give him his money. he's going to be on the phone for me and trying to get me deals and trials, I think it's worth it. And I thought it was a respectable thing to do. Like, even like with friends, like I always tell them, like, yo, I'll pay you for your time, because I just know how it is, you know?
Right.
Yeah. No,
And
100%. I totally agree with you too. With agents, I've been asked, actually a week ago, I was on the phone with a kid and he was like, should I get an agent? Like, should I pay an agent? And I was like, I mean, there's no yes or no to that. I know we preach the be your own agent thing, and I think that's just so important to embody yourself. And like you said, like, you're a business, you're an asset. But if you can pay an agent and he can do something for you, and there's a level of trust there, like what this guy, I mean, I'm sure you'll explain a little bit more, but sometimes it is the right move. So I think it just depends.
Yeah, exactly. No, so like from this trial, there were 3 people that reached out to me, and you know, I think one of my gifts, or whatever it is, like I'm a big guy into trusting my gut. And like, I had a good feeling about this guy. He wasn't giving me the rah-rah and the bullshit. He was telling the truth, and I could, you know, just tell looking into his eyes that he was a reasonable guy. And yeah, and like you said, I think it's just about, like, it's also, you know, you kind of take the pressure off yourself to find the team. So you kind of like, all right, you worry about your getting fit. He worries about finding the team. And then, you know, like $1,000 isn't a big fee for that, you know? I think Sean and I have talked before, like, I was at one point, I was like on Soccer Way, just like throwing like 1,000 emails, and you get like one email max. And it's like, you know, reaching out on Facebook pages.
And this is what you're paying for when you pay an agent.
Exactly.
I mean, you hope.
Yeah.
When you find the right
you pay
person.
for their connections, really, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And what he did was, I actually forgot to say this. Once I found the team, he gave me the money back, and then he got 10% off my contract. So that's how it worked, and I like that thing. So
I like that too. It's good.
He
Was that in writing beforehand?
Yes, he guaranteed to find me a contract. Then I would give him the money back, and then boom. So so that's how it worked. He hooked me up with like 4 solid teams, Division 1. 3 of the teams wanted to sign me. One of the teams just didn't want to. And like I said before, I'm a big guy on gut feeling. I ended up signing with this team, Knee Shopping. They had a head coach who knew one of my club coaches, and they had an assistant coach who was an American. And I went in there, and I just loved it. Like, great environment, great vibes. And, you know, these other 2 teams, they were offering me a better deal. But, you know, like I said before, like, went on gut feeling and environment and good vibes, and I signed over there.
Awesome.
Was this in Division 1? All the teams were in Division 1?
Division 1. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, a solid, you know. And actually going over, it's talking about transition. You know, I had said to myself, you know, this is when Sweden was kind of on the come up, you know, in terms of football. And I was like, I don't think these guys are going to be that great. And great level in Sweden, Division 1. Very fit guys, take care of their bodies, professional environment. Like I said, you know, people are in there doing their activation in the beginning. We had an ice bath, sauna, all the stuff, nice gym. And guys wanted to get to the next level. That was the biggest thing. That's what really kind of, you know, turned me on to the club. You know, there were about 10 guys who really wanted to get to the next level. And right now, I think from that team, there are 4 guys playing in the first league in Allsvenskan. And then Sean, you know, Andrew John Baptiste, he's you know, playing in the Canadian Premier League. So it was a great level, great environment. And a great time. And
how long were you there for?
I was there for 1 year.
Okay.
And then I had actually came out to Latvia after that season when I was 24. And I had trained with 2 clubs in the first league, because actually the captain of the team that I'm playing at right now, he's a good friend, but he was actually, like we've talked about, he was a good friend of my coach in Germany, my assistant coach where I first played. So he hooked me up with that setup, and yeah, so I came over here at 24, did well for this team in like on the border of Russia. I was about to sign, and I like they were about to sign me. Then they went to go check like my European status, and just I had overstayed my welcome. So I had gotten on the phone with a bunch of people, and they told me like if I don't leave, I'm gonna get banned from Europe for like 5 years. So I was like, all right, I obviously got to make a move out of here, and being on this journey for so long, I also was doing podcasts. I had Sean on. Dylan, I need to get you on, but
anytime.
Yeah, I was doing like I'll reach out to anyone. So like I went on Yanks Abroad, and I had researched because one of my good friends was playing out in Israel, and he told me that good level. He said I would love it out there, and he said he wanted me to come visit him in Tel Aviv, and I ended up visiting him in Tel Aviv in April. I think this was 2019. Place is an absolute dream, and I went back to the U.S. and I'm eligible for a passport in Israel. So got that passport within 3 weeks. Boom, I was back out in Israel.
Yeah,
and I was on that. I was there for a year.
Incredible. How was that? How was the league? How were the players? How was the environment in Israel?
Oh man, absolute jungle. Absolute jungle.
We've heard that from Evan. Evan Nadanir kind of explained a little bit about it.
This place, like, oh man, like Israel, like you go over there and like you could either find someone who is the biggest piece of shit or your best friend. Like you'll go walk on the street, you'll meet someone, talk to them for like a couple minutes, and they'll invite you to Shabbat dinner on a Friday night. And then for those people listening, you don't know what that is. It's the Sabbath, rest and relaxation. One of the best things in Israel. Like you just have a great, like unbelievable meal. You sit down with like friends, family, eat like a good meal, talk about how the week went. So Friday, Saturday in Israel is off. Sunday is the start of the week. So yeah, in terms of like people wise, like I said, you could find either great or piece of shit. So in the football world, so I went over there and I'm a pretty friendly guy. Like I'll talk to anyone. Like I enjoy conversations. As you can see, I just talk my ass off. So yeah, so I went over there and made a lot of good friends right away. And people asked me like, what am I doing there? They were like, I told them I was playing football, and like they looked at me like I was just like a dirt bag. And I was like, what's going on here? Like, why are they doing this? And I think, let's see what happened over there. Oh, the agents there, another level, man. So before I went over there, when I had got kicked out of Europe, whatever, I was on LinkedIn. I was doing my LinkedIn grind. So
I know this.
Went on LinkedIn, Israel soccer agents. Boom. I must have like 300, I spent 10 hours in one sitting, just 300 emails. I was just a
copy,
savage.
paste, send.
Yes, exactly.
Change the name.
Yeah, change the name.
Exactly. And then like talk about investment, I had to invest in LinkedIn Premium. I was just like, for a month so I could send
another
the messages,
investment in his own brand,
yeah,
man.
exactly.
I haven't heard that one. I've never heard of anyone investing in LinkedIn Premium. I respect that.
Yeah, I had to go. They still try to sell me on that until this day. But yeah,
come back.
Yeah, I met with like 6 agents over there. Wow, some of these agents, like, I went into one of those agents. He worked in like one of the nicest buildings in Tel Aviv, and I went into his office, and we just started talking, and I was like, do I have to pay you for the service? And he had like a beautiful office. Like, he did like something else. Like, his main job was something else. He did like the agent thing because he enjoyed it on the side. I asked him if I had to pay for it. He's like, you think I need your money? Look at my office. You think I need your money? I said, man, I'm just asking before we get started.
Yeah, like, yeah, I need to know these things.
Yeah, he's like, you know how much money I make a month? I don't want to know. I don't really care. You know,
Yeah.
just interested in, football.
How much?
So.
Yeah, I'm interested in if this is gonna cost me anything.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever. I didn't end up going with that guy. I ended up, meeting another agent who had experience in the USL level, and great guy. Still talk to him till this day. And yeah, he hooked me up with a team. Actually, I got to get into the one story I had. So I had met this one agent. This is a good story. Wow, I never thought of this one.
Oh, hell
So,
yeah.
Nice. I
We
like this.
this.
When you go over to Israel, man, like, I flew El Al. Like, they are in terms of security, man, like, they are the strictest you'll ever see. So I was under questioning for like 30 minutes of like why I'm coming over there, who I am, and like they were asking like the most absurd questions,
Even with the Israeli passport you have.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so this one guy who was like doing the questioning, I told him I was a footballer coming over to play football, and he's like, footballer? Like, I know some people. Send me your highlights.
Oh, wow.
Security guy.
Security guy.
Oh my
So
God.
I sent them the highlights. And he hooked me up with this agent. I was living. Oh, I didn't tell this. I was living in Tel Aviv, and man, all throughout this whole journey, I'm a big Airbnb guy. So I'm always in and out of Airbnbs. In Germany, I think I had a record in the summer. I was like in 15 different Airbnbs within 2 months. So.
We need a sponsor. We need a sponsorship for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Airbnb, if you're listening. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Hit me with that promo code. So I had done this Airbnb with these interesting people. So I had rented a room from these people in Tel Aviv. It was a mother and her daughter. And you know how it is. Like, I thought, the daughter was, said on the description she was 24. Mother was 50. She was a Pilates teacher. I was like, this is my speed, So I ended up renting a room from them. And obviously I had hoped the daughter was going to be hot. She wasn't, to my disappointment. But so I rented a room from them. And this guy, like I said, this guy hooked me up with an agent, and they hooked me up with a team near Tel Aviv in the second league. And supposedly like a big team, they wanted to go to the first league. And I went over there, trained. So I trained for, I think, so they said I'll train for a week, and then they'll let me know, if they want to sign me. We've heard this before. So I trained for a week, did very well. They told my agent, they really like me, but they need to see me another week. So I was like, all right, fine. Second week. And mind you this, I was like, paying to get over there. They weren't doing any payments. So they're basically using me as a training dummy, as I've experienced before. Second week, same thing. So I said to the agent, I was like, I've seen this before. I was in Sweden, I was in Germany, and, he's like, no, trust me. I was like, all right, I'll trust you. So third week comes around, same exact thing. And I was performing well. Like, all the players on the team would come up to me after these trainings, and they're like, when are you going to sign? we need you on the team, this and that, and I was like, yeah, I mean, they're kind of, I feel like they're pushing me around, but I don't know. So I told the agent, like, this was the third week was coming around. I was like, you got to ask them, like, are they planning on signing me or what are they doing here? And he said he knows the coach and to trust him. So I trusted him. Third week comes around, same thing, did well. That Thursday, coach gets sacked. This is like in preseason, I don't know why the coach would get sacked in preseason. And so the new coach comes in, boom, the coach is very good friends with one of the biggest agents over there. He brings in 5 players, I'm out. Boom. It's already, I think it's like end of July, beginning of August, when like the season's about to start, and
Does it run the same as like Major Europe? Like the month it starts in okay.
Yeah. So I get kicked out of there, and I was in Tel Aviv, like I said, in and out of different Airbnbs for like 4 or 5 weeks. And I had made a couple good friends over there, a couple guys who were playing in the first league. And one guy hooked me up with this team out in Haifa. And I ended up signing out in Haifa, and like great experience. Like, lived in Haifa, really fantastic city, like great vibes. And the thing with Israel is that I like made such good friends. That was one of the things out there. Like, they're so super warm people over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a lot of good friends, like enjoyed my time. But like I said, in terms of the football wise, like best technical players I've seen. Best technical, like so sharp and clean on the ball, but their discipline is like not there. Like, these people, they're eating dinners on a weekday at like 11:30 p.m. We have training in the morning. Like they're like partying, whatever. And these are like guys who have potential to go to the next level. Like, even guys in the second league were doing this. So yeah, I mean, the football world is a jungle there. Like, there's a lot of payments going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of the agents run the business over there. It's a big business. Yeah. It's a big business. And I just got to the point where I was like, there's teams that are in it together, like in the same league. They're in it together. So they pay each other off to like lose a game, to win a game. It's just absurd. So I was like, I got to get out of here. And contacted this guy who I told you about in Latvia again. And he like just came into a new club over here. He's trying to like do like a big project where I'm at right now. And I felt like it was the perfect opportunity because, as we all know, like, trust is huge. And I really trust this guy, like literally the best guy I've met in football. When he hooked me up with these trials in when I was 24, he was working hard, man, like to hook me up with these trials. And I was like, let me pay you for your time. Like I said before, like, let me take you for a dinner or something, I appreciate your time. And he's like, no, I just do it for the grace of God. And I was like, man, this guy is just a good guy.
Amazing.
Wow.
Just a good guy.
You don't often meet those kinds of people, because even the people that help you, even good people, they always want a little something from it, just a little cash or something. Even the good people. So the people who are taking nothing from it, I mean, you meet 1 or 2 of them in your soccer career, I feel like.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It's unfortunate to say that you don't meet a lot of those people, like you said, in the football world. Yeah, 100%. Everyone has an ulterior motive, but I, like, in the beginning, I was like, dude, is this guy actually serious? And then once I realized, I was like, this is a good guy,
Yeah. I mean, I get it too, though, because like you said before earlier, I mean, your time is money. So I totally get if someone's taking the time to do things for me and is plugging me to teams and stuff, like I fully expect to pay someone for that. But the people who don't take money from that are just like the few, I don't know, angels in this football world.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been in the jungle like how you explain Israel, but I mean, everywhere there's a little glimpse of it. That's crazy though. I mean, that level of the teams are paying each other.
It
It's
sounds
crazy.
like a very the Eastern European football league system seems right up that alley. It's kind of a lot of sketchy things in the background going on.
Oh, a lot of favors, a lot of nepotism, a lot of family stuff going on. One of the big things too is a lot of the agents. They're the agent of the coach, and then they just bring their players, and it's like boom, like you know.
Yeah, that explains how quickly you were kicked out of there. Someone else comes in, it's like, who's this guy? I don't know. I got 5 players I know.
Exactly. And then, you know, in terms of the level in Israel in the 3rd tier, good level, but no tactics. No, like we would go out and like I remember we were playing a 3-5-2. I was playing as a left center back, and you know our goalkeeper wasn't good with his feet, you know, and this coach was trying to play a 3-5-2 where the left center back and the right center back are super wide on the touch line, and then the goalkeeper and the other center back are both on the ball, and I'm like, yo, there's no chance. Like, we're not Juve, you know. And I remember the first friendly, the goalkeeper gets the ball back, and we were like balling on this other team, but he passes the ball to the other team. Boom. Our other center back saved the goal, but I was like, this is what's going to happen. So like tactics over there are non-existent. They just tell you to go out there and fight. And that's what it is. It's a war, just like it is in society over there. It's a war, like on the pitch, you know? And, you know, you like thing over there that I really appreciate about Europe. And I love Israel, like fantastic place, but everything has its pros and cons, its ups and downs. Over there, like you're always on edge. Like you're always looking over your shoulder. There's too much of a rush. Like, and we're from New York. Like I was actually on the phone with my boy yesterday, and he's like, the fact that you say that people are always in a rush and always like time is money over there is crazy. But it's like, I think it's 150 times that of like New York. Wow. Like people are always, they're always like, oh, driving over there is like another world. It's like you're on the highway, like you're in the left lane, like on a highway, 3-lane highway. Someone is trying to pass. Like the first thing I noticed, someone is like I'm going at a good speed. Someone's flashing the brights at me in the left lane, beeping me, and I'm like I'm at speed, you know. He tries to pass. There's a barrier on this side. He tries to pass me on the barrier, and I said, "Dude, I'm out of this lane," you know. So
back to the slow lane.
Yeah. So, yeah, like came back over here to Latvia, and it's like, wow, I'm nice and calm again, and go back to like these wearables. Like what tells you everything is my resting heart rate in Israel was like 42.
Oh my God.
Now my resting heart rate in Latvia is 37. So it's like, that's everything, you know?
Yeah. That's crazy. I would like to hear more about Latvia too, because it's another one that you don't hear as much about. So what is that league system like? And you know, you said it's a little more, you know, adjustable and comfortable in terms of lifestyle. So just give us the lowdown on Latvia.
Yeah. First of all, fantastic. Anyone who is interested in Eastern Europe, you got to check out Latvia. Fantastic place. Like the people are unbelievably friendly. Things over here are cheap.
How's the food?
Solid.
Nice.
Yeah, really good. And man, like you could go out for a nice dinner, get a glass of wine for like 15-20 euros. Like you could get a nice meal. like appetizer, main course, you're chilling. And like the teammates, like the people, maybe it's just my team, but like super welcoming. Like right away, they like told me like within like the first week, like we had like the, you know, the Mannschaftsabend, and they're like, welcome to the family, you know? So once you hear that, it's like, you know, this is going to be good. And they're just such good people over here. And, you know, what I really realize is people over here, you know, they don't come from much, you know, they don't see the New York, the Long Island, the wealth. So they appreciate what they have, you know, and they're super happy with what they have. And I think that's why people are here, just still trying to figure it out. But it's just like, why are people so kind here, you know? And that's what's been really most refreshing to me, because I think one of the biggest things is how welcoming people are, you know, and people are willing to, they're super friendly, welcoming, great English.
I was going to ask, because I wasn't sure. That's cool that they have great English there too.
Great English. Speak better than a lot of my friends, you know.
Same case here. Do they speak Russian there, or what is their language that they speak?
So they speak Latvian, but it's like mixed of Latvian and Russian people. So they learn Russian on the street. So basically I would say Latvia is similar to Sweden. They like learn English at like 6 years old. And they're watching the same type of, you know, cartoons and all that stuff. But I would say maybe 30, 40 years ago, they were learning Russian in school. But now it's kind of transitioned.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And what is your situation like? Do you plan to stay out there? Is it better that you have an Israel passport now, or what's the visa situation?
So the team's like gone out of their way to help me. They've been helping me a lot. Like I said from the beginning, the guy who helped me out here, like, and humblest guy you'll ever meet. Like, I remember when I first met this guy, he played in Polish Ekstraklasa. He played in some big leagues. He played against Ronaldo. He played against Memphis Depay, Arda Turan. He played for the national team. You would never know. Like, this guy, he was still like riding, you know, like riding the bus. And he was like, yeah, Memphis Depay is driving his Lambo, but I'm okay to ride the bus. And I just love that, you know?
Yeah,
and, you know, he has the money. He has a car. He has the money to buy a car. But just like the humbleness, I remember he said to me, he was like coming out of the stadium playing against Holland. I forgot, maybe like a couple of years ago. He said that to me is worth millions of dollars. So he was just like, you know, just super great guys. You know, the coach is the same way. They both they both played together. They're good friends. So yeah, I mean, right now, like I wanted to get my game. Like, I need to get games back. Need to get the game confidence. My kind of, you know, main goal was, you know, just after like spending so much time in Europe, I had wanted to come home to play I was trying to play in the States. That was my plan before I had undergone the surgery. But then I kind of did a double think, and I was like, I don't want to come back to the States after, you know, not being here for like 6-7 years and just play right off of surgery, not fully fit. So my whole thing is, like we've said from the beginning, like, I'm just taking it training by training, day by day, trying to, you know, be the best player at training, hardest worker at training, best player in matches, and just enjoy my time. I don't want to rush things, you know?
Yeah.
Sure. And how's the level there? How is like the team in terms of training and the league system, and how is all that?
So we're in the first league. It's the second tier. There's Versliga and then Pirma Liga, I think it's called. That's what we're playing in. And you know, the goal this year, they're trying to get up to the next league. I don't know if that's possible. It's a young team. Like, they kind of started the club, I think, like 2-3 years ago, but like, we have a couple experienced players, ambitions to get up. And, my friend kind of just, he brought me to help the team, on the field, and then off the field, he knows that he knows that I'm a leader, and like, I'm a guy who, we go back to like 10 years ago when I told you about, it's just a totally like different guy. Now my actions speak louder than my words. When I was 16, I was just a, clown. And so I kind of try to influence the younger guys. I got a lot of guys who have good potential, and I try to, show them with kind of the level of professionalism that I bring to the trainings, that we're here to do something good, and I want to bring hope to these guys. I want to, if they, a lot of them haven't seen the outside world. So I want to show them, if they put in the work and they really want it bad, then they can do something.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's a perfect segue into this amazing brand that you've built, RicFit. I mean, it's everywhere on social media. And if you take a look at, your website and everything, it's the whole brand speaks for itself, and what it's promoting. And especially like that, it's putting in the work. And if you put in the work, there's the hope that you can become the best version of yourself, whether it's in football or, in fitness and nutrition and everything. So,
100%.
I mean, when would you say, like, when was RicFit really born? Like, when did you start saying, okay, I can make something of this, or did it turn out, and like, when you started, was it just, I like to post these things and we'll see where it goes?
Yeah. So, first of all, I appreciate the kind words, man. I really do.
Of course, man. It speaks for itself.
Yeah. So I was out in Sweden when I started. I was 22, about 4 years ago. And, like I said, like I had always been into helping. Like I have a lot of joy, like, helping people transform themselves. And I've realized over the past 2 years, more mentally than even physically. And as we both know, they're both so connected. So I was like personal training people, like younger kids, when I was in high school, and when I was, in college, and I was also doing it like in Germany. I was doing a lot of free sessions, wasn't charging much, just enjoyed it. And this is when like kind of the social media thing was all coming up. So I was like looking on Instagram, and I was like, these trainers are just like posting these things that are just like not relevant, not relevant, just like not scientifically backed, not scientifically based. We can go with the fit teas, the Herbalife, the waist trimmers. I was like, I got to get into this industry, and just like, I want to just tell the truth, and I don't think I'm some genius. I don't know everything, but I know a decent amount that I want to try to educate people. And yeah, I just said, like, basically what I did, I was like, when I was in Sweden, I still, train, like, I still do, like, I don't do the high intensity anymore. Like, yeah, I try to periodize properly, but I basically bought a camera, and I said, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to record all my workouts, because I was just training a lot. And I basically built a Vimeo database. I now have like 3,500 videos on my Vimeo database. And what I've done is, like, I train people, through, so I'll like I build them gym phases. I help them with their nutrition, help them on the technical side, like every single thing that you can think of to try to optimize the person, I try to help them with. My whole, like, my, line to my clients in the beginning is like, I want to teach you what I've learned in 10 years in 6 months. So, yeah, basically what I've done is just like try to help a lot of people for free. And then if people really want to get individualized and personalized, they can apply on my website to get into my program, and they basically become an online client. And I require at least a 6-month commitment, because I'm also super against like the yeah, 90-day get shredded programs and this and that, because that's what gets you injured, you know?
Right.
And I'm a big guy. Like now, I'm a big guy on consistency, you know, smart work and patience. And that's what I try to help my clients with.
I love it. Like Dylan was saying, I mean, it's kind of cool to have watched you grow, because it started, maybe it wasn't RicFit at the time, but back when I was playing pickup with you in Manhasset, you already had a bit of a thing on Instagram, but it was maybe not RicFit, but people knew, or they knew that you were playing in Germany and so on. And I mean, even since then, I've spoken about it with Dill, with our page and stuff. It's like, you do an incredible job of being consistent with content. And like Gary Vee is talking about that, and I'm sure you've heard him speak about it, but it's like, you are always putting out content, and it's good content, but you're also transitioning when I guess maybe you see, okay, maybe this is not working that well. Let me try something else. Like you've gone through all different types of content since the beginning. Yeah. And I find it fascinating, because a lot of the stuff too, some of it's so simple, but it's like, of course you should put this out. Like, this is brilliant. Yeah. Like even the post the other day, which I want to talk to you about, because I feel like, from what I know of you, this is maybe something you've battled yourself with, but it's like the post about eating the ice cream cone.
Yes.
And it's like, people don't talk about that. It's like, I would consider both of us as we're super obsessed. We want to optimize, but like, today I went for a nice walk in the river. It's 85 degrees and I had an ice cream and I enjoyed it. And I had
an ice cream today too. Let's go.
Love it. What flavor?
I had mint chip, or it was like mint crunch. It was called.
Nice, man.
Mine was one scoop cookies and cream and one scoop chocolate. Had to do it big.
Damn, love that.
But like something like a post like that, where it's like, yes, we are doing everything we can to optimize our performance.
Yes.
But I also, life is more important than football, and this is not like an ice cream cone is going to affect my performance. It's not.
Yes.
Because what's going to affect the performance is a quality mind and decision making. And when you're in a bad spot mentally, you make poor decisions. And ultimately, that is the biggest performance enhancement, or what's going to hinder your performance the most is your decision making. Like, as much as, and that's kind of what I've learned across the years, is like, as much as I do in the gym and outside of training, it's like, what decisions you make and the proper decisions consistently determines whether you're a good player or not. Because all the technical stuff, sure, you can get incrementally better slowly, but like, it's there. It's not going anywhere. But it's what I do with the ability is what makes the difference between a good player or you're sitting on the bench.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, the coach only cares about the result. You know, he doesn't care how much time you put in the gym or on the wall. Yeah. He cares about, you know, what you can bring to those 90 minutes.
Yeah, completely true. I mean, I was just looking at the other day. I mean, we won't call you an influencer. You're a footballer who has a good following. And I mean, that's followings over 100. It's a following over 100,000 people. So, I mean, it took some time to build up. So, you know, a lot of people are trying to build their own brands, and, you know, we're big proponents of, if you have something you believe in, you know, go all out and do everything you can. So for people who are trying to build a brand, just like you did and are continuing to do, what are some, you know, big tips and big things that you say are necessary for something like this?
So basically, why I love business so much, and I didn't go to business school. I learned it all from Gary Vee. I love that guy.
Gary Vee University, baby.
He's the man. So basically, you know, the main thing is help people for free. You know, no, I got to go back to what I said. It's too late. I need some caffeine. But the reason I love business so much is because it's so similar to your body. What, you know, it's about, you know, consistency, quality work. And, you know, I just think I really relate it so similar to the body, because I always post this one thing. You can't get fit eating one salad, and you can't get fat eating one burger and fries, just like, you know, we had talked about with that post. and it's about consistency over time, consistency over intensity. Really, one workout isn't going to make or break you. It's being on that cycle. And like you said, Sean, like, happiness is everything. When you're happy off the field, you're going to be happy on the field. And I always tell my clients from a nutrition standpoint, consistency over rigidity. I would rather eat 80% according to your goals, 20% go enjoy yourself. I had a client email me the other day. He's like a young kid, 17, 18. He's like, I'm going on vacation with my family to Montana, traveling around, doing road trips. And he's like, how could I stay on track with my nutrition? And I was like, all right, lay out what the nutrition looks like for me right now. Like, where are you going to be eating, things like that. And we'll talk about it. And literally the message that I gave to him was like, dude, I got to tell you, like, don't worry so much about it. You know what to do. Like, I've taught you what to do. Just enjoy the vacation with your family. I got to tell you, I wish I was on a vacation with my family right now. You're not going to look back when you're 90 and say, oh, I wish I stayed on track with my nutrition for a week when I was in these beautiful places in Montana. And I said, second of all, dude, you're probably hiking 30,000 steps. So I really wouldn't worry so much about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think number one is like, I'm going to sound like Gary Vee when I say this advice, but it's like, number one is consistency of giving people things for free without wanting any monetary gain back. Number two is don't judge yourself too hard. Just like with the ice cream thing, like, man, if you eat an ice cream cone, it's better to enjoy it and be in the present moment than worry about how many calories or whatever is inside. Enjoy it. You're allowed to. And yeah, the third thing is like you said, really stand behind what you do. I was actually talking to one of my mentors who's helped me with my business, is Gary Vaynerchuk's trainer, actually. And I talked to him I talked to him the other day, and I was like, one of the things that that I want people to, when they come off my page, I want them to just get a positivity, energy, but a realness. I want to give them my positivity and energy, and I want them to know how much I love what I do and how much I believe in it. But I want them to come out with an emotion, because Gary always talks about when you could get someone emotionally, they're hooked. So it's like, when someone comes off my page, I want them to really think about RicFit. Like, damn, this guy, he gives practical and scientific information, but he's also not a robot. And that's why I post that stuff like that. Like, I'm not all business, and people think that I eat, and I don't miss trainings, and it's just not the reality. Like, I try to be as consistent as possible, and that's what makes me feel my best. That's why I'm so big on it. But like, enjoy yourself, like, you gotta go out and smell the roses once in a while. Like, it's not all business all the time,
That realness, man. It's in itself, it's part of the brand. It's like you said, there's so much shit out there on social media, and we've been around, especially our generation. We've been around through the kind of the beginnings of it, so we can smell bullshit from a mile away.
Sure.
So when you have a brand like yours, where you're giving out consistent information that's free and that's practical to things that you do and things that people want to become too, I mean, it makes sense why it's grown so far. It makes sense why you've been able to take it to where it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. No, I appreciate it. And yeah, like I said, I try to be like as transparent as possible. And I think one of the biggest things, whenever you're chasing something that isn't that's out of the realm and isn't the same thing that everyone else is doing, man, you're gonna have so many lows, man. And like, I always I really want to get into something, because I see so much, from the emotional standpoint with like younger kids, like, where people just are struggling mentally. And that's where, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a psychologist, but I've done a lot of research on neurology, the brain, and also I've experienced a lot of this stuff. And one of the biggest things is like, there are, in football, there are, especially when you're not a big player, there are a lot more lows than there are highs. But if you really, really love the game, and you can treat this as a process and a way of life, like, it's just so valuable, and like you said from the beginning, I think you said something about we're always chasing results, and that's the problem, man. We're not people. Yeah, we got these cliche saying, trust the process, this, that, but once you actually live it, that's when the value is there. Like really enjoying every step of the process is the most fun, because once you get to the result, you're like, all right, what's next? Once I hit 100,000 followers, I'm like, what's next? So
yeah, 100%. And I mean, it's a great point, because yeah, like you said, we have all the sayings, let's trust your process. But when you actually embody that, and you've kind of been through these multiple lows, like we all three of us have been, grinding out as players who don't have that name, and, had to trust people and things like this, those lows become, I don't know, just less powerful. They become just more like little bits of ammo or a shield, or however you want to describe it, that are really just building bricks to make you better and, more intelligent. You've learned so much. Like you said a great quote, and I'll butcher it, but it was essentially along the lines of the things that you learned, by leaving college, and you couldn't have learned that in the classroom. And that's exactly it. Like the amount of lows that we've all been through, these things I never learned in college. And, we went 4 years. So it's just a testament to, kind of taking that scary route that Sean and I always preach. And, along the way, you're going to learn so much and look back at it. And I'm sure you kind of do the same, as when you look back at some of these lows, it's really not so damaging anymore. It's more like, wow, that happened. And like, that helped me become this. It's crazy, that self-reflection.
Oh, of course. Yeah, and 50 Cent, what's his line? Like, if it wasn't for rain, we wouldn't enjoy the sun. Something like that. It's like the same thing. Like, it's in many men, I think.
It is in many men. It's funny. It's running through my head right now.
No, but like it's so true. Like, the dark times, when you're in the dark times, they might seem like they're just walloping over you and everything, but once you get out of it, you're just so grateful for those times, because how much they've taught you.
Right.
100%. Do you feel like you've been a grateful person, throughout this journey, or is it something that kind of came to you as you were really trusting the process and figuring things out?
I think first of all, one of the biggest things that after seeing all these places, traveling and seeing how people act and how people live, I'm just grateful for where I come from. I actually was on the phone with one of my boys yesterday, and I was like, dude, you have no idea, like, where we come from, like in Long Island, like what we have compared to the rest of the world. Like, you just got to be grateful, man. Like, we're like 1%ers out there, and it's like, I think one of the things that I'm grateful for that I got out of college earlier is like, so many people where I'm from, they're in such a bubble, man. I don't know if it's the same by you upstate New York, but I'm sure Sean could attest to it. But these people, they're just worried about their next sorority party, or their next, line of coke they're snorting. They have no idea what the rest of the world is,
Yeah. I mean, it's something you said again. Sorry, Sean, was just like, it's an environment. I mean, what you're around is who you become. So unless you kind of take those scary risks to go out and do something that's uncomfortable, you're always going to be a product of that environment, and you're not going to be able to change yourself and learn. Really, it's really like the amount you learn from going to another place is uncomparable.
Yeah, I've had this conversation recently many times with numerous people, but it's like when you leave the country, because you can go to a new place in America and it's a new environment, but it's the same culture. There's slight differences. But when you go to different countries, it's like there's something so like natural about it. It's like you got to adapt to the environment. kind of assimilate to the culture in a way, and then find your place in order to make it like, okay, I enjoy living day-to-day life, where it's like, oh, I hate this here. Like you have to change your mind somehow. And now after, I mean, what is it now, 4 or 5 years being outside the country, it's like when I go back to America, I love it. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything that I didn't
That's
see
so true.
when I was there, because I would never have known. But you leave the country, there's like it's just little things I can't even think off the top of my head, but it's like little things where it's like, oh, I really appreciate this. You know,
even like hearing your own language.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
You go back to the U.S. and yo, this cashier speaks English. Like,
Oh my God, dude, that's so crazy. Yeah, every time.
Yeah. Or it's like like little things, exactly. Like walking my girlfriend's dog, and it's like I'm walking past someone else with a dog. It's like, oh, I'm gonna have to have a conversation in German right now. Like, what are they gonna ask me? And it's like little things like this where it's like you just think about it. I would never have thought about this. Like, oh, I have to have a conversation with this person. Don't know if they even speak English or German well. How is this gonna go? And it's like just a fascinating moment that would never happen in your own country, even if you moved around.
Sure. And that, man, like that, I could go in so many directions with that, but like, you know, being able to adapt everything. What's that, man? What's the quote by Darwin? Oh, man. He just talks about like, it's not survival of the fittest is the one who, not the strongest, not the smartest, but the one who can adapt.
Fit for the environment.
Some kind of,
who can best adapt to the environment, something like that.
Exactly. And
it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It's the one most adaptable to change.
Exactly. And that's one of the biggest things, like, dude, like the ability that you have to, you know, quickly switch your thinking from English to German, and you speak German, and you know, that's just, it's a huge skill, you know. And I think you guys have talked about on the podcast before, like you learn so many different skills over here just to be able to survive and live. And if you don't adapt, you're not going to do well. Like we've seen the guys who, you know, like here's a perfect example. Like when I first went over to Germany and people weren't speaking English, like I said to myself, like, damn, this is going to suck. But what did I do? You know, instead of saying it's going to suck, I tried to flip that switch, change the perspective. It's like, I learned German, and now I could speak decent German, you know, and I tell people now, like, I wish in Sweden they didn't speak such good English and they weren't so, you know, willing to speak English, because I would have learned Swedish.
Right, exactly.
But I'm grateful for those dark times where I felt lonely and I felt out of place. And I was like, man, how am I going to do this? But I'm so grateful I did. And we know those other foreign players who weren't willing to learn German, who didn't do well over there.
Right. And even with that too, it's like just moving from place to place within the country, in Germany or in Sweden, or moving from country to country. We are so much better able to adapt to the new environment, where it doesn't, like, I can honestly say that it doesn't phase me anymore to move from, I mean, I'm going to be moving again soon to like another temporary room until I have another apartment. This is like the 9th time in 3 years. And it's like, this is normal. Like it is what it is. And it's like, in the beginning, it was a big stress, but now it doesn't phase me. It is what it is.
No, one of the biggest things that I've learned, like actually when I was home for 5 months with, you know, doing this rehab, that was the first time I was home for more than 1 month over like 6-7 years. And also grateful for that. Like I got to spend great quality time with my parents. And one of the biggest things that I've learned moving all around is you just become so grateful for home, you know, a place that you could call home. And being in one place at one time, because the world is such chaos. Like when you come home, you want to be able to be at peace and calm and enjoy yourself. And sometimes when you're moving place to place, like your mind is just not there, you know?
Yeah, 100%. It is nice. I mean, even to bring it back to what you guys said before, I feel like I just appreciate America and America culture, and just like, I don't know, the comfortability of it, and just like knowing what's going to happen, I love to come out and try the new places too, but it makes me appreciate a little bit of each now. So it's crazy what you think you'll learn when you go and do something like what we've all done, and then what you actually learn. And it's, I don't know, it's crazy. I wouldn't change a thing.
Also, another thing to add too, because it's also come up recently, it's like you get outside the country, you get people's perspective on things.
Yes.
Like, it's not even just politics, but it's just like daily life things where it's like, I never thought of that. No one has ever spoken about it that way. And I'm a pretty open person. So please tell me if you think there's a better way to do something. Yeah. And there's like just a million things I could talk about, like outside of political stuff. It's like, I would never have been able to hear this perspective staying in America.
Can you think of any examples? I'm trying to think of some right off the bat, but
I mean,
it's like you could do a full episode on things like this.
People are always interested in hearing about that, but like a simple thing.
No, let's stay not, but no.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
No, but yeah, like Dylan said, man, things in the US are just so much easier, like daily tasks like are so much easier. But then like, I always try to tell like the younger generation, like, just the process just like teaches you like so many things that once our career is over, whenever that may be, hopefully, late 30s, whenever our career is over, when we go into the real world, we will be able to eat everyone. It just will be so easy because these people, they're sitting in desks from 9 to 5, like, and like, we've been through it all,
Right. And I've struggled. I've spoken about this before. I don't know if I spoke about it on the podcast, but like, I'm struggling for a way to really describe it. But I just feel like the journey we're living at the moment is like, it's like real life, like the 9 to 5 real life, but in like 10,000 times fast forward. It's like the going contract to contract, game to game, sketchy stuff here, having to move, the lows, the team doesn't want anymore. You got to get in, and it's like, you're living everything, but like an incredibly,
it's like a lifetime within itself.
Yes.
Exactly.
So then when we get out of this, whenever we were not really going to get out of it, but when we transition into something else, it's going to feel like everything is in slow motion, or it's just so easy. It's so simple.
Wow.
I mean, honestly, like, not to toot all of our horns right now, but like, this is a good conversation, man. This is something that it's
real.
It's wise. We're wise people, really. Like, this is something that like 55, 60-year-olds would be talking about, like we've the ability to have a good conversation is one of the biggest skills. And not a lot of people can do it. Like, when I'm around, some people that I'm around, I just can't have a conversation with because I can't relate, but like we, I think through everything we've been through, we've become very relatable to everyone. And once you can relate to everyone, I think you guys have talked about it before, like the money thing with football. Like, I remember when I first came out here, like a lot of my friends were asking me how much I made, and they would laugh at me, and that's fine. But, I take those skills that I've learned, and, when I'm older, Jordan Peterson, I forgot what he said, but like, when you're 20 and you're 30, that's where you're living, your experience. Real wealth comes at 40, 50. And I'm not saying it's all about money, but it's like, just to put that stuff into perspective, like, this journey I think you actually said this, it's priceless. It really is.
There's always different ways to really categorize something, and it doesn't always have to be monetary. So like, the success doesn't have to be in terms of dollars or trophies, or, it doesn't have to be, like we said, it doesn't have to be results driven. It doesn't have to be a number, a personal best that you squatted. It can be everything that you learn to get to where we are and to where we continue to go. I mean, the things that we've learned, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't change it. And
for sure.
Yeah, I think it's been a great conversation too, not to toot our own horns.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all you people out there, you're welcome. No, I'm kidding.
We might have to start the episode like that and then come back to this. You're welcome. Well, it's true
there's
though.
the 14-year-old Rick.
It's
Bro, that's the thing, man. Like,
comes
you know,
out.
my ex-girlfriend actually always jokes around about this with me because, like, when I was 19, 20, she saw the clown me, you know, and she's like, don't ever lose that. I'm like, trust me, I haven't, but I'm a little more mature now, you know.
It comes out in the right times now, you
Exactly.
know, or some more appropriate times.
Yeah, exactly.
But even just to bring this back, just these points that we've been making is like, you know, a thing with Footwork is we love to talk to the guests because it always brings out more and more of what we're feeling. You know, it's not a therapy session, but in a way it kind of is, because it's just bringing up, you know, you might be able to phrase something better than us, or you might be able to put something in more perspective that may help me in this journey, you know? So talking to people who have like-minded thoughts, but different paths, I think is another thing that's just invaluable. And hey, we're giving it away for free, people.
Yeah, no, exactly. Someone's got to whoop. Give them 20%.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Whoop for us.
Footwork
Airbnb
podcast 25
for you. Yeah. Come on, we'll take a 5%. Anything.
Yeah, I actually
free shipping.
This company, like this company, some supplement company tried to reach out to me the other day, and they were like, and like I've had a lot of people like try to reach out, and I've never actually accepted anything because, like I've said from the beginning, like I'm only going to promote things that I would use. And this supplement, they were trying to give me like 5% return. I'm like, nah, you give me 25%, I'll think about it.
You think I need your money? You see this?
Exactly. You learn something from everyone, you know. You really do.
Shout out that guy.
Yeah, shout out that guy.
Oh yeah, saucy guy. That's his name. Legend.
Saucy guy.
If you're listening, saucy guy, you're a legend.
Shout out to the security guard too, though. Like,
that's what I'm saying. He's the real MVP here.
We talked about this. This is a whole episode where we talked about you never know like who you're gonna be in front of.
This guy's giving you a cavity search, and then he's asking for your highlight video.
Exactly. Oh man, legend Igor.
Igor. My God, he's even more of a legend.
Yeah, but yeah, just like you said, man. Like, I don't know. It's something that I really, you know, I don't know if you listen to podcasts. I Am Athlete, Brandon Marshall, and all those NFL guys.
I've seen some clips on YouTube. I don't think I've ever.
You guys got to check it. It's fantastic.
Cool.
Fantastic. But Brandon Marshall always goes into checking the mental health of his like Chad Johnson. I forgot the two other NFL guys that are on there. But it's like, you know, you see these you know, and this is all about being vulnerable, you know. It's like, and it helps other people, you know, like these NFL guys, like you look at them, they're absolute machines. Like you would never think, like, now we know since we're older and we have experience, but younger kids, like they would never think that they're dealing with the same issues that they're dealing with. So it's like being able to be vulnerable and talk about like real conversations are so damn valuable. Not this freaking this superficial, you know, getting deep is what it's all about, you know, and that's what I always try to do with all my boys, like my good friends. Like it's what it's all about, you know, like having those deep conversations. And that's why I don't like being categorized as a damn Instagram influencer, because man,
I totally get it.
I think I've been out with like two of these Instagram influencers, these girls, they can't talk about anything. It's like, you know, we're trying to get
that's
deep
the problem
here.
with social media.
Level.
Yeah, it's the problem with social media in general is, you know, it's so surface level and you're only showing the highs. And I think it's super important to show the pitfalls and the struggles and have these conversations, because you can't keep that shit inside. You can't just only, you know, exclamate the highs. You have to talk about the lows, and you have to divulge into those conversations, and you can't keep it bottled in 100%.
Exactly. And I think, just like you said, like being like, man, you could call this a therapy session. It's like getting out a lot of good.
Yeah.
But it is.
It's a lot of,
is.
It's a lot of good. And that word therapy, gets such a bad rap, but it's like even Sean said, like when you're, when you're in a good mental place, like anything's possible,
Completely agree. You can do all the training, you can do all of the research, you can do everything, but if your mind's not right, you can't perform. And that's what people always have to think. They always have to, you should always constantly check yourself and be like, am I all right? If not, I got to talk to someone. Who can I talk to? And on the other side, like you said, you constantly reach out to your boys to talk. So it's important to be on both sides, like, because sometimes it's hard to speak up about things that are, going wrong and things that are tough. And, it's so valuable to just put things out there into the world. Because once you say it, something can just, that power can just not be over you anymore. It can really release. It could be as simple as that. And I think it's great. I might have to call a few boys after this and just,
for sure,
check up, see how I'm doing. Yeah.
Dude. That's something that's also very valuable that you learn, like when you're, you're in a foreign country and you're not, all your boys aren't around, you don't have family, like just reaching out, like even having a 15-20 minute conversation, catching up with one of your boys is it's huge. It puts you in a good place. It really does.
Right.
Yeah. And it gives you, it's similar to like a workout where it kind of gives you a little high afterwards, where you kind of have a little boost of energy and you kind of get some endorphins and you're like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's just nice.
Exactly. And then, like you said, just surrounding yourself with the right people. And, people, I've gotten questions before, like, what if you don't have a good circle? And that's the value of like this podcast, of other, people that you look up to, listening, reading what they think, that's the value of books.
Right.
Like
create your own artificial circle.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome, Rick. I mean, so this was an incredible conversation. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Sure it was.
I'm not going to shy away from that. I gotta throw this up
on my podcast, if you don't mind, and my YouTube.
Yeah, this is
please.
I mean, we could keep going, but there's going to be a round two. There's no
100%.
question about that. I mean, you've given so much gold here today. But if there's advice, not necessarily for your younger self, but to anyone looking to pursue their dream, I wouldn't say young people because they might be older and looking to switch it up, what would you give them? What's your advice to them?
Damn, I always ask this on my podcast, and now you stumped me, man.
It's always easier to ask this question than to receive it. 100%.
Yeah. I think the number one thing is really, like, if you want to do something and you talk about these goals and you tell people about the goals, but the most important thing is yourself. If you really want something bad, you gotta look yourself in the mirror and actually ask yourself. And you have to commit, not for 1 month, for 6 months, not for 2 years, 3 years. You got to give a good commitment, and obviously you got to be realistic. Like if you want to be a pro player, but you're not sure if you have the ability, you got to be realistic with that. But you got to look yourself in the mirror and dedicate, because like I said in the beginning, like there's going to be so many ups and downs. It's like, if you hit an obstacle, you can't just throw in the towel, because there's going to be so many more of those. Like once you commit, you got to fully commit. And that word is loose. It's a loosely thrown around word, but true commitment is true commitment. And the true commitment is to yourself. You got to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I willing to make all these sacrifices? What our journey, we've been willing to miss holidays with our family. We've been willing to miss weddings of our good friends of family, birthday parties, all those celebrations. It's we've talked about all the great things of what we've done, but like we said, the low, it comes with lows. Like, it's hard to have a relationship with a girlfriend. It's you know, friendships are hard, you know, especially with teammates. You're 1 year here and then you're there. It's hard to keep in contact. There's so many different things. But if you really, really do love the game and you're willing to commit to this, you got to commit. And you can't just, you know, write it on social media or tell your parents. It's you versus you. It's in between your own ears. So once you commit to it, you got to be all in. It's all about being all in.
I mean, I think that's, yeah. I mean, I'm nervous for when I have to answer that question, because I don't know if I can top that. I love that.
All right. So until next time,
keep moving forward.
Keep learning.
Make your own path.
There you go.
And follow these guys. These guys are legends.
And follow this guy. This guy's a bigger
follow
legend.
RicFit. Yeah.
Footwork is sponsored by ourselves. Also, Kong Fitness and Merchant Designs, baby. Follow us on Instagram at Footwork_podcast. Twitter is at Footwork Podcast. YouTube and Facebook, just check out Footwork Podcast. Search it. Email us if you need anything, any questions at footworkpodcast@gmail.com. And remember, plug, pass. Tell your parents, Amazon delivery guy, mailman, I don't know who, just tell them. Like, subscribe, review, all of it helps. Danke.